Hi, my name is Andrei Jikh. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the best and the worst stock picks of 2022. I have looked at over 100 stocks in my own portfolio, and in today's video, I want to show you my best and the worst performing ones, and then later in the video, I want to show you what experts are saying will happen to the market next year. But if you're pressed on time, spoiler alert, it's not looking good. According to research, the next decade will have substantially slower economic growth, and next year in 2023, we will have the slowest growth since the year 2001. But before we talk about the future, WTF happened in 2022. The market started out so-so, but for the rest of the year, it continued to just crash, and everyone lost money investing in the stock market. So why did this happen is one of the questions I had for this video. And the answer is going to blow your mind. According to DataTrek research, the stock market was down more than it was up. And the reason that's a crazy statistic is because this is one of the rare few times that the stock market has broken that pattern since World War II. In fact, the market was down 141 trading days versus being up 107 trading days. But that's not the crazy part. The most interesting part is that it was only 5 trading days that accounted for roughly 95% of the stock market's losses. Only 5 days. Now remember, the stock market is supposed to return on average 8 to 10% per year. And here's how much we lost in 2022 from those 5 days alone. So here's what happened. The first day was April 29th when the market went down 3.6% in a single day, and it was all because corporate earnings disappointed investors. Mostly Amazon, which didn't earn as much money as they thought in the first quarter, and they thought, well, if Amazon has it bad, then surely Apple and Microsoft must too, and so the stocks went down. Then came the second day, which was May 5th, and that was all thanks to the fact that the Fed, the central bank, Papa Powell, told everyone that he would not raise the interest rate by more than 0.5%, but he lied and he raised the rate by 0.75%, which scared the markets, and that's why the market went down another 3.6%. The third day was May 18th, and the stock market lost another massive 4%, and it was for the smallest of reasons. The first reason was because Target missed their earnings expectation, and Walmart was warning people about inflation. And because those stores are seen as the barometer for where the middle class shops at, investors got scared. And the third reason was because Papa Powell told everyone to expect some pain ahead, and boom, the market lost another 4%. The fourth worst day was June 13th when the market lost another 3.9%, and it was all thanks to the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, which is how economists measure inflation, which came in higher for May than was expected. But it was also in May when the stock market turned into what's called a bear market, which is what you call a stock market that's down 20% or more from the start of the year. And the fifth and worst day was September 13th, when the market lost 4.3%, again thanks to inflation. As soon as the articles came out about inflation being 8.3% and that it was super sticky for the housing market, boom, the market went down. So those were the 5 days that contributed to the downfall of the market. Now let me share with you what my stocks did in 2022. So here are my best and worst stock picks. I analyzed over 100 stocks in my own portfolio, and that sounds like a lot of work, but that's only because it was. Because Robinhood still does not let me see the year to date on the individual stocks, and here's what I mean. So if I show you my portfolio, you can see the overall picture. The YTD, the year to date, from the start of the year to now, I am down 15.6%. But if I scroll down and show you the individual stocks, it only shows me by default the one-day performance, because we know that Apple, for example, did not go up 2.8% in the whole year. What it's showing me here is the one-day performance of all of my stocks. What I would love for Robinhood to do is whenever I click on the different time ranges, like for example 1 week, and then I scroll down, I would love to see that rolling period for 1 week, or that 1 month, or 3 months, or 1 year, or YTD. When I scroll down, it would be correspondent with what I clicked. For now, it's just by default 1 day. But while we're here though, let me just show you what the overall picture looks like. This portfolio, which is composed of the S&P 500 and dividend stocks, is down 15.6%, which sounds bad, but that's only because it is. But if we compare it to VOO, for example, which is the S&P 500, the stock market that every professional hedge fund tries to beat, this is actually down, year to date, 19.7%. So my portfolio is actually beating the S&P 500, which makes me feel good, but That's not really what I'm interested in. I want to show you some of my individual stock picks and how bad some of them were, so I'll have to do this manually, which I already did. Now, before I share with you what I found, please keep in mind I am not licensed, I'm not a stock analyst, I don't wear overalls and a suit and tie and pretend to be someone I'm not. I used to though, in the beginning. It was a lot of fun, but then it felt weird to wear a suit and tie at home with no pants on. Now, I don't always do a good job, but I try my best to let it be known that I am not a professional, and sometimes I'll do magic tricks in my videos. Are you not entertained? But that's also why I've never offered any stock courses or any investing information for sale, because this is just my own investing journey for free for your entertainment pleasure, so you can make fun of me. Anyway, let's get on with it. So here are my top 5. My 5th best performing stock of the year is a stock you might not have heard of before. It's called Genuine Parts. It's a company that is genuine parts equal and equal parts genuine. I don't know what that means, but this stock is up 27.5% for me, and it's a really straightforward and easy company to understand. They make car parts and they make components for large industries. Their products have been in demand over the last year, and they've done really well. Because it's really simple, and because they're a proven track record and they pay dividends, that's why I like them, and that's why they're up so much. Now, the 4th best performing stock in my portfolio is General Mills, everybody's favorite ticker symbol. Now, I am up 28.3% on this one, and this company is, again, super straightforward. They make food for pets and for humans. They also own brands you might have heard of before, like the Blue Buffalo. They also own cereal brands like Cheerios, Trix, Lucky Charms, Cocoa Puffs, and even Haagen-Dazs. So again, they make food, super simple and straightforward. My 3rd best stock is a stock that Greta Thunberg would probably not approve of, but that's all right. I approve of her because her Twitter skills are just legendary, and that stock is Chevron. Chevron is up 48.7% year to date, which is just insane. But in hindsight, it's pretty obvious why those companies did so well. We had the European energy crisis, we had the conflict in Ukraine, we had supply chain issues, which raised commodity prices, which translated to record profits for those oil companies. Now, in 2019 and 2020, I was really going heavy into energy stocks. I was doubling down on Chevron and ExxonMobil, and I was that crazy guy back when everyone was chasing EV stocks. Now, I am rooting for EVs and renewables. Maybe I'm pessimistic, but I just don't see them replacing oil until maybe 20 to 50 years from now. Hopefully in my lifetime, but that's not a guarantee. Now, my 2nd best performing stock in my portfolio is another company that you may or may not have heard of. It's called Cardinal Health, and it is up 53.1% year to date. And this is a company in the healthcare industry. It provides services to pharmacies and it distributes medicine. Now, personally, I have no idea about the future of this specific company or healthcare in general, but I'm hoping there's going to be a huge reform and a huge change here in the US. And I'm rooting for someone like Mark Cuban to hopefully get his company off the ground, because no one should have to pick between paying their rent and paying for their medicine. But for now, unfortunately, this is the best we've got. Now, my number 1 best performing stock in my whole portfolio is probably not going to be a surprise. It is ExxonMobil, another oil stock. It's up almost 75% year to date, which is, again, just pretty crazy. Anyway, those are my top 5 best stocks. Now let me show you my top 5 worst performing stocks, and also obligatory angle change. We're here. All right, so my 5th worst performing stock in my whole portfolio was GameStop. I put in $200 in June 2021 just to see what it would do, and do it would, because now I'm down 51.3%. My 4th worst performing stock is actually PayPal. PayPal did me dirty. I bought $10,000 worth of PayPal way back in December 2021, and today I'm down 65% on it. And my guess is mostly because they saw a huge amount of competition and we saw the destruction of fintechs, and that's why PayPal is down, but now I'm down quite a bit of money on that one. Now, my 3rd worst performing one is a stock that I totally forgot I invested into, which was Tesla. I bought roughly $2,000 worth of Tesla way back in May 2021, and now I'm down 69%. I made a whole video about why Tesla is going down right now, so go check it out, but I'm just glad I didn't put in a ton of money into that one. Coming in at number 2 is AMC. Now, I invested into AMC for the same reason I bought GameStop, which was for a video to fight the hedge funds, and I bought it just for fun. I put in $2,000, and now I'm down 78.3%. But my first worst stock is by far worse than all of them, combined. Now, this one is Coinbase. I don't even want to look how much I'm down. This stock is up in flames. It's by far my worst stock pick of the year. Even though I didn't buy it this year, I actually bought it way back in April of 2021. But the mistake I made with this one, besides investing into it, was buying it on the day of the IPO, the initial public offering. There was so much hype around it and I bought into it, and that was a mistake. I should have waited. But better yet, I didn't even need it because I had enough Bitcoin at the time, and the two are extremely correlated. They move up and down for the exact same reasons, and I didn't need it. Now hold on a minute. How is it that even though I had some pretty embarrassingly bad stock picks, that I was still able to do what over 90% of hedge fund managers and professionals couldn't, which is beat the broader stock market? Here's the secret. You can buy my course down below. The coupon expires tomorrow. Just kidding. So there's two main reasons actually. Reason number one is because a huge part of my portfolio has what are called dividend stocks. These are sort of like the cockroaches of the stock market because they're sort of indestructible. They have a long and proven track record of paying their shareholders consistently no matter what happens to the market. And right now, the market is valuing those stocks a little bit better. What's interesting about dividends I found is that when the market is losing money, I look like the winner. But when the market is making money, I look like the loser because dividends typically trail behind the S&P 500 by just a little bit. So right now I'm sort of winning. But reason number two is because of when I started investing. I started to heavily invest in the year 2014, which has given my portfolio that much time to reinvest all of my dividends and to grow the dividends and to grow that dividend snowball so that I'm making much more money and it's contributing slightly to my overall returns. That's why they say that it's much more important to have time in the market rather than to try to time the market. Research shows that after 15 years of consistently investing, you can increase your odds of making money to 99.8%, and that goes up to 100% after 20 years. So it's all about how long you've been investing. Now, with all that said though, here's what I've learned from 2022, not only as a content creator, but also as an investor. I learned that in the end, stock analysis just doesn't matter in the context of the bigger story. And the story for 2022 was the story about inflation and interest rates going up to fight that inflation. So don't fight the Fed because no one can make money under these conditions. But I also learned that the reverse is true because when you get interest rates close to zero and when no one's worried about inflation, that's when everybody looks like a genius because everyone's making money investing into everything. It was the risky stuff and tech stocks that made the most money from 2020 to 2021, and it was the dividend and the boring investing strategies that made the least amount of money. But now in 2022, the story's switched. It's the risky stuff, the tech and small cap stocks that suffered most, and the dividend investing that did the best. I also learned not to go all in on a stock. Even though research shows that lump sum investing, aka put all of your money all at once, is actually better than dollar cost averaging, personally, I found that putting in a little here and a little there is better for me. Because if I put all of my money into a stock at once, if it goes down and I don't have more money to invest more, that's a big part of the reason why people want to sell their stocks to preserve what little they have left. So that's not a good idea. Also, 2022 was a rude reminder, and this is something I knew, but this was again another reminder that sometimes it's okay to invest in the slow and boring stuff and miss out on the stuff that gets you 10x and makes you look like a genius on YouTube, because in the long run, the record will prove itself. As always though, have a wonderful rest of your day. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for sticking with me in 2022. Love you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you back here on Monday, Friday, sometimes Wednesday. See you soon. Bye-bye.